So, like yesterday, I was speaking about, me losing my job and what I did to speak to others about it. And then, obviously, what came with it after that was all the questions from my wife and friends. I mean, one of the biggest questions I got asked was, especially from my wife and her family, was, how have you hid that from people for so long? How depressed you are? And I don't know where I had the strength to do that. I must be obviously a lot stronger than what I think. Like I say, I have borderline personality disorder, and also I hear a voice. And I've been hiding this since the age of 13. And I'm 41 now, and I quite weirdly always had this thing in my head: I'm going to die when I'm 36. That was always the plan. I'm going to take my life at 36, like the real time. I've tried it a few times before. I tried it when I was, I think maybe 14. Things got to me massively. My father had 2 bottles of White Mackay whiskey, and I decided to take a load of temazepam tablets. So what I did was I poured the first half of the whiskey into a pint glass, and then I had like a pint of whiskey, and then I poured water into the whiskey bottle, shook it up, and looked at it, and it didn't look the same. And then I did it with the other one, so I wouldn't get in trouble, even though I was wanting to take my life. That's how afraid I was of my father. So I did the same with the other one. So I had like 2 bottles of whiskey, all look the same. I screwed them back up, put them back in the cupboard, so I'm left there with 2 pints of whiskey. And I think my mother had these sleeping tablets called temazepam. I think she had about 15 or 20. So I downed the first whiskey and then took the tablets, waited a bit, and drunk the same one. I'm wanting to die, and this is the age of 14, and my mother caught me doing it, and she came downstairs, my face was all red and blotchy, and luckily I didn't go to hospital because it was that embarrassment, but I did a lot of throwing up. Hands were down my mouth, throwing up and stuff, and I was ill for about maybe 2 weeks, and this is something what me and my mother have never ever spoken about, me doing that. So I did go to do it at a really young age because of the constant pain. I'm under a lot of confusion at that age. I'm getting heavily bullied by my father. I'm going to school, which was terrible. I'm not being, this is quite a bit of a bad subject when I'm going to talk about, but we're originally from Stoke-on-Trent, and we moved to Scotland at the age of, I think I was the age 11, and I always got bullied for being English. It didn't matter what I did, or I could never mix with anybody. There was always that one thing: I'm English, and they hated me. And school was tough. It was a tough school. I went to a school called Ardrossan Academy, and all they were bothered about were Catholics and Protestants. The first question I ever got asked was, am I a Billy or am I a Tim? Quite simple. Do I support Rangers? That means am I a Protestant? Or do I support Catholic? Celtic, am I a Catholic? And that's all it was about. That's all they were bothered about. It was sad every lunchtime. They'd be fighting with the school across the road, Stevenson School, and it was tough. And quite luckily I met a good friend through this called Danny, and Danny was from Liverpool, and Danny was my saviour. And I don't think you realise how much you save my life, Danny. I never told you, but I never had a friend before Danny. He was just amazing, you know. He moved up, his family moved up and he moved up with his family. And we both had no one. And I owe Danny my life. You know, I haven't seen him for about over 20 odd years now. We've just recently got in touch over Facebook. And Danny, you saved my life, mate. You might not know that, but I had no one. School was fucking hard. You know, so both ends I'm getting bullied. My father, he's saying to me, if I come home crying again, you little puffer, I'm going to kick your head in, and I'm going to school. But it had to come to a point where I had to be one of them. So, you know, I can remember going to school one day, and I was getting bullied at school, and I was in the PE room, getting ready to do sports, and somebody started on me. So I just grabbed the head, pushed it into to the wall. I think it hit a coat hanger. So anyway, I got taken into the office, and my dad came into school. Now, rather than my dad telling me off for doing that, I got suspended, I think, nearly expelled for, I think it was about maybe 6 weeks, but it got appealed on for bullying. My father, rather than, thinking it was a bad thing, he thought it was a great thing, because I stuck up for myself, but it wasn't, but it was just like, he was trying to make me something that I didn't want to be. I had to, the reason, you'll probably see me doing weights and stuff on here, this is me being truthfully honest. The reason I built myself up to be strong is because I had to be strong in order to beat the bullies. I had to harden myself up. I had to start having an opinion. I had to start fighting for no reason. School was tough. School made me a hard little bastard. Sorry about my swearing, but it was tough. And it also affected my mental health. I was given a thing in life that what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want